Hey, this is Shai Hussain, and you've been listening to Voice It Out podcast, the best podcast ever in the world.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi, Amrita.
Hello, Shyama. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All good.
Still warm?
I'm going to get warmer because this room is about to get warmer.
It is about to get warmer. Yes.
If anyone doesn't know, me and Shyama are totally at different ends of the spectrum
we
when
are.
it comes to heat.
I'm
and
always cold.
heat
You're
and
always
not
hot. Yes. It's always a thing.
Yes.
Well, today, yet another exciting episode. And we have a guest who's quite familiar to our listeners.
Yeah, we've only mentioned him in every single episode.
Pretty
so
much
far.
every single episode.
You might recognise his
you
name.
might recognise him.
If you get to the end of our episodes.
If we do. If you do. So we have got the wonderful, the fabulous Shai Hussain, aka DJ Shy Guy.
I'm clapping because
Yes.
finally.
Finally. Now, what have you not done? Let me just break this down, okay? This guy is a screenwriter, he's a playwright, he's a script writer, he's a DJ, he's also had acting stints, if I'm not mistaken.
Long time ago.
Well, it's still there. A lot of his projects have been in film festivals around the world, international. He's written for radio. He's shown some of his work at the West End, but the best. I think this tops everything that he's done. I'm gonna say it. This is your peak.
The theme track.
The jingle
Yeah.
for our podcast.
I didn't even think of that. I thought she was going to say something else.
No, he's topped it. Sorry, jingle.
I mean, it's so true. I agree. I concur.
Absolutely.
It's true.
So
It's
glad
such a
you
great
guys enjoyed
jingle.
it. It is
I
such
feel
an
like
awesome
it's given
jingle.
us a little bit of an identity. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Shai, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This is, seriously, I've always, been listening to the podcast, and I was like, I wonder if they're going to ask me to come on.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah, I've always sort of like, just to hear it, I was like, oh, yeah, I agree with this. And then like, yep, they have a point. Oh, I wish I could say this to them.
Oh, I love that.
I love that you want to butt into our conversations.
Oh my
and we
God,
record it.
absolutely.
I can butt in today.
Oh my God,
It's fine.
absolutely. You absolutely can. I mean, okay, let's start off. You've had, oh my God, this is literally as I was reading your bio, I was like, I didn't know he did this. I didn't know he did that. Oh my God, the West End. You've
done a lot.
You've done so much. Out of everything, where did this start that you were like, oh my God, I want to be a writer and I want to be a part of this and I just want to do something where I can put my own voice out there, because a lot of these things are about your own identity. Like a lot of the, especially a lot of your writing.
Yeah.
It is about your identity and what you can relate to. So like, how did that journey start?
I mean, actually, weirdly, the biggest inspiration is probably Goodness Gracious Me. That was the thing that I saw where I was just like, oh, wow, we can actually be represented and there's so many parts of our lives that aren't out there. No. Although now, yes, it can be problematic in terms of racism.
Looking back.
The racism it has towards Desis, like not British Asians, but actual Asian Asians.
Absolutely.
It can be, pretty racist. And, that is something that is prevalent amongst even our generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the next generation, there's so many people who have that bias of just like, oh, well, we're British Asians, so we're cooler than Asians. And
so
what's
true.
that? Yeah, the word freshie just gets thrown away so much.
It does.
And, I'm guilty of I was part of that stigma. Like, growing up, just be like, oh, use the P word against other friends if they weren't cool, and totally ashamed of it, and call people out when they do it now. And I think that's the thing, we all grow wiser with the times. I don't think there's it's wrong, but we should admit to we're ashamed of what we were like, and we've grown as people and admit to it. But I feel a lot of people get flack of the person they used to be.
Absolutely. But I think also there's some people who it's probably quite rare. Well, I'd like to think it's rare. It might not be. I feel like there are some people who still don't see it as a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's more alarming to me than owning up and being like, okay, you know what? Yeah, I used to use that word. Or I used to find it okay to use that word.
Yeah.
But some people still find it okay.
Totally.
They don't understand the connotations of what they're saying.
I mean, the P word has become probably, you know, like I think people have agreed that isn't on. So you don't see that in the responses of these, like, but today even like an Instagram post from you know, that South Hall UB1 UB2
UB1
thing.
Yes.
And it was about like this dating, like what's it called, Desi dating big festival. And you know, somebody responded with like, oh, that place is just going to be full of freshies, just, you know, and really, you know.
Okay, can I just put it out? And it's true. It's one of those things where there are still people who do that.
Yeah.
But just to point it out, those freshies give us amazing food. Those, you know, when I think of Southall and I think of Wembley and I think of all the,
I feel like they've brought a lot to
I think
the UK.
it's I'm sorry, but our parents are from a different country.
Yeah.
You know, and it's sort of just like, okay, yeah, there is a line and there is a point of we should be able to laugh at ourselves. We should be able to take light on, you know, what we can make fun of. But I think it all depends on context as well. It's just like if you're doing it forcefully to hurt someone's feelings.
I think it's more that term, freshie. I think for me, if I was to explain what it means, it does put us on a pedestal.
Yeah.
You're a freshie. And it deliberately kind of looks down on people from the subcontinent. And I do feel like I do genuinely feel like so many people, like in the UK, we are, well, I can't say UK. London. Yeah. We are in London, like diverse, I feel.
Yeah.
But I don't think we celebrate that enough.
No, we don't. And I think a lot of it is the usual, you know, what does racism come from? It comes from fear of the unknown. And a lot of people who, you know, they don't have friends who are sort of like, you know, from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, who've just come over. So they have this, you know, racist connotation of like, oh, they're going to be like the bud ding ding kind of like.
Oh God, I haven't heard that in so long.
I haven't. But you know,
that's what it's like.
It is true. And the thing is though, it just makes me think like, you know, that the term freshie, like you said, puts us on a pedestal. But actually thinking about it, I don't really know why, because it's almost as though it's sort of like so many of these so-called freshies have come here and they've gone to university and they've got degrees and they work really hard, and it's just like, what is this pedestal that we're putting on?
I don't think that people think of that.
No.
When we use that. Well, I say we because as a community we still use that word.
Yeah.
I don't think we think of someone coming over here to study or someone coming to contribute to the economy as a doctor, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't think we associate that to that word, even now.
Yeah, we just think, I mean, again, there is nothing wrong with being service staff or...
No, not at all.
Basically, it's just that's the immediate sort of like thing we think of, like, oh, people who... It's just as racist as, you know, when white people think of like immigrants and just, oh, they're coming in and, you know, they're being benefits thieves, but also taking our jobs. And yeah, it's the same thing that we as, you know, British Asians are thinking of, you know, people coming, and it's really wrong. It's so... It
is really wrong. So is that where, going back to Shama's question, is that where that started for you, that kind of, the identity, like looking for your own identity, I guess, or trying to form your own identity?
Yeah, I mean, for all writers, I think writing is just our way of counseling and dealing with our own inner demons. Like, we sort of like, and weirdly, the through line for every one of my scripts is identity. It doesn't matter whether it's a, you know, historical thriller set in 1792 Hyderabad, like during the East India Company, or it's set on the other side of the universe, but it's a British family who are sort of like trying to integrate into this universe of multiracial aliens and, you know, trying...
Oh my God, multiracial aliens.
I know.
I
like that. Yeah.
It's a, what's it called? Alternate version of seeing London and of, you know, Asian coming to London, but instead you've got this British family who are the last remaining humans who are put onto this planet full of, so cool. Like, Dion's the name of the planet, but the Dionians are fed up of like all these different races coming in, and you know they come in thinking it's going to be.
I feel like I'd watch that.
So
yeah,
it's
absolutely.
a sitcom. It's basically
would.
like what South Park meets Family Guy, but from a British
Love
perspective.
that.
But there is no money for animation in
Yeah.
the UK, so
Oh my God.
it was so close to getting made with adapted as a children's cartoon series. So it was going to be for 8 to 13-year-olds was going to be the target. And the BBC promised me for 6 months that they were going to send the contract in. After 6 months, they were like, sorry, they went with this idea from another writer whose idea isn't as good as yours, but they have a better track record. And
Okay, so for anyone who's listening who is in this business and is liking what they hear, get in touch now.
Exactly.
Like, get in touch now. That would be incredible.
There are so many ideas that I wrote from 2007, 2009, actually 2005. The first ever script I wrote is, I'm not going to give all of my ideas away, but it's,
I was going to say.
yeah, but it's like 10 Commandments meets Gladiator, but, about the evolution of religion, how it starts off as a word of peace and then becomes one of preemptive self-defense until the oppressed becomes the oppressor. And it's just...
Oh my God, Shai, just...
I was going to say, it really challenges kind of social norms, right?
Absolutely.
And I think I've kind of really appreciated that, even when you've been doing your script writing or presenting something. And as you did say that, like pretty much every writer is doing some form of something to kind of feed into their own identity or explore that kind of thing, like someone else's identity, or like what happens if they clash, or what happens if they fall in love. I don't know. But it's really interesting because I'm really wondering, where did it start for you? Like, which hat did you start off with first?
DJing I fell into.
Okay.
Was never a plan. Although I think subconsciously it might have been. I'm not sure if it's the same for all DJs, but like up until very recently, actually, I've always been a bit of a crowd pleaser, basically. And I think that comes from a real deep sense of insecurity of just like, I want people to love me.
I think we all have a bit of that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think DJing was the one point at which, even though I was a social butterfly at school, I wasn't one of the cool kids. And I think when I saw how the power that DJs had and everything, I guess subconsciously I just thought, I want to be that person who controls the party.
I love that.
Controls
Give me all the control.
Controls the party. Controls the mood.
Oh God, I love it.
It's cool. I mean, this is I'm just gonna confess to it. But like last party, like last Saturday, I wasn't DJing at it, but I was managing it because I'm one half of Bombay Funkadelic, and I was queuing up. It was a neon Holi party, so basically,
some of the videos.
so glow in the dark color, and I was queuing up because I don't like to take advantage of my position.
So humble.
Yeah, I gotta try, but the thing is that I was queuing up for like half an hour. Got to the front, and there was this guy for the last 10 minutes who was just dancing and pushing in. And then I had to go to sort of, basically look for this technical issue that was happening. Came back, and my girlfriend was like in the queue holding the fort, but she'd been pushed back by this guy and 6 other girls who were just like, you weren't ever here. And she was like, I've been standing here. And then they were having a go at me. And so basically, we were supposed to be at the front. This guy, totally cocky, reminded me of like one of those a-holes at school who, would just be like, we definitely know those. And, he sort of like sat down in the seat to get ready his makeup. I was like, you out. And he's like, what? And I was just like, you should really, think that maybe you might be talking to someone who owns this party.
Yes.
And it's just like, and basically, even the girls, they were just like just,
I love that.
I was just like,
I wish I was there.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a classic Karan Johar scene.
Really, it isn't.
Don't you think?
Yeah. Oh my
like,
God. And the guy's poo.
Gabi Khushi. Yeah, exactly.
The guy's poo.
Oh,
the guy is totally.
Does that
poo.
make
But
me
they said
hurt the
that
girl?
I was going to say.
Could we call him P? For P.
Yeah, if she's poo, he's P.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't think I should answer that question.
But no, I think it's, you know what? Because looking at all of your accolades, and you've got all these different, like the way that you express yourself, because I think especially in your writing is a form of one expression, and then you've got being a DJ, which is completely different, but that's also another way that is a form of your expression.
It is, and I've been a lot more vocal these days. Like, it's not just music. So like the last we did a colors party, like Holi party, you know, just totally cultural appropriation. But
why not?
But
I'm glad you're admitting it.
Exactly.
but like it ended up becoming a bit of an Independence Day special. And you know, there were people with like Indian flags sort of like celebrating out there. And you know, it's sort of like we might touch on it later, but I'm not a massive fan of flags myself.
Okay.
But yeah, I basically thought, no, it's an Independence Day thing, so let's announce it. But then I was aware that we do have Pakistanis, Bangladeshis who
I was
come
just
down.
going to say that, yeah.
There were no Pakistani flags. And there was a guy who came up to me and he sort of said, my girlfriend's from Pakistan, would you be able to do a shout out for Pakistan as well? And I was like, definitely. And,
absolutely.
And for the India thing, you know, again, we might touch, but like it's I feel India itself can be a massive example to the world of how a people of so many different religions, so many different like languages and beliefs and gods, and you know, basically just even in Hinduism itself and everything, everybody has a different way of worshiping, you know, like following Hinduism. And I just think that if India can show that everyone can coexist as one people, as one land, then you know the world has a chance. And then I kind of said that on the mic, which I probably wouldn't have had the guts to.
I love that.
Yeah, but
I love that.
As a DJ, you get that power to be able to say things like that. And I did a shout out for Pakistan afterwards and sort of like said, let's not forget, you know, we were all one country at one time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And,
what was the reception you got?
Yeah.
Did you get any kind of reception?
Honestly, I think it did go a bit cold after the Pakistan thing, which I was really annoyed about. But I was just like, look, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna always say it, whether it's sort of like going to get a cold reception or what. People should be reminded that we were once one.
But you're
people,
not just
so.
and also it's not just about you. Like, you know, like I just feel like, because if you have a party like that, it's not only open to Indians.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so
it's
why
open
don't people understand that there's going to be other cultures, religions, whatever it is?
Yeah.
I just, that's really shocked me.
It's also that you're like, okay, you're being patriotic about a country that you're not even in.
Yeah. No, but I think some of them probably are from there and have come here.
I think Bombay Funkadelic, a good number of our people are from India.
But it's one of those things where it's like, well, there are other countries and other people all around the world. Like,
it wasn't
what
an
are you
Indian
gonna like?
event.
It's not an Indian event. Yeah, it's not. It's not. You know. But I mean, you know, going back to your writing and going back to how you present yourself in those, you know, like, there must be a sense of vulnerability.
Yes.
In terms of how you write and what you're writing, what you want to portray, but how much of yourself do you reveal? And talking of these, you know, the fact that people have these connotations about race and culture and, you know, what has been your personal experience, especially as you've been writing and you've probably been discovering more about, oh, I didn't think of this, but now I'm writing it down.
Yeah.
That's something that happened to me, and I don't think, you know, like, what has been your experience in that? I mean, I know this is a wide-ended question.
I mean,
but
yeah,
it's just interesting to know that you've got so much knowledge about things, but putting yourself in that sort of, how is that journey, and where does that fit in?
I mean, I think a lot less people watch documentaries than watch films, and there's a lot of the person that I am today because of the films and the books that I read and the TV series that I watched. And that's one of the reasons, you know, like I watched Barbie, which I loved, but there was this line in it which I'm just getting a tattoo of, but it was just like, you know, something like, I don't want to be the idea, I want to do the imagining that changes things. And that's basically the main reason why. And I think that's why I just get so demoralized with writing, because there's so much stuff that I have to say and there's so much stuff that I want to see made. I just feel as if writing doesn't exist if people, especially script writing, screenwriting, it doesn't exist unless people are seeing it which is why I tried my hand at a novel, and but I just need to find time to adapt it. Yeah, I need to redraft it. It's just like such a massive job. But in terms of the things, I've tried tackling religion and race and sexuality, and the biggest thing like I've been afraid of expressing more than anything is the current one that I'm developing at Criterion Theatre. That's like my first big theatre thing, and that's dealing with actually it deals with a lot, but the sex part is one thing that, just because I am shit scared of my mum, no,
that's fine.
More than the extremist religion people, more than anyone, it's just like, oh my god,
you're always gonna be scared of the parents.
What will my mum say?
God.
Is that what it's called? What will my mum say?
Mum, close your eyes in this bit.
Seriously.
But it's incredible. But like I said, your work has actually gone to so many different avenues. What has been the reception, and what have you found, if there is a common sort of like, not the opposite of like barrier? What has, when you go and you say, look, I've got this project and I've done this, I want to move forward with it. Yeah, what has been your experience and how it's been received, and what you're finding that people are just not?
The major thing is, you don't have enough credits. Like, there was another producer from India who sort of like came to me with a idea, which was basically, it felt like it was autobiographical. And I was just like, I can write this in my sleep.
Yeah.
And she interviewed me and a co-writing friend of mine, and then he said, yeah, that's cool, just keep us looped. And then she went for Ayub Khandin, so like, because he's got East Disease, he's got like all of these credits and everything. So, and that is the annoying thing that I have had to face continually, is just we love the idea, we love the writing, but you haven't got enough credit. And like, how are you supposed to get enough credits when nobody gives you that?
Yeah, exactly. You don't get the experience, and you don't get someone vouching for you. How are you going to get the credit?
Exactly.
So is it like a vicious circle almost?
Yeah, I had this lovely opportunity to speak about it at the House of Lords, like diversity and getting diverse stuff out. And this was 2015. And I said there, like one of the lines was just like, how are you ever going to be, because I said, we would love to have more diverse writers writing things for us, but they're not good enough. And it's just like, how are they ever going to be good enough if you don't give them the opportunities? And continually, you can, hate the game, don't hate the player. But, the people who get things made are the ones who network like crazy, who are the ones who either are super confident about themselves, or who can, are you allowed to swear in this? BS, like basically BS their ways into, basically, just sell themselves. Sales is what it's all about. Sales and networking.
That's tough.
Yeah,
I think if we just want to touch on, because we had this like conversation just before we started recording, the British Asian industry is a bit like that. That if you don't network and you don't sell yourself properly, you are very easily forgotten. Yeah. And I think it's really difficult. It's not difficult to stay relevant. It's difficult to, I think for me, naturally, I'm not a networker.
Yeah.
You can ask Shama, if I was in a room, that's quite funny because we're going to a networking event.
Yes. It's very funny.
If I was in a room, I would be probably the one on the side by myself while everyone else is talking. It's not because of any other reason, but I find it hard bigging myself up.
Yeah.
But also I find small talk really hard.
Yeah.
So, like, I totally get where you're coming from. But then are you like, even though you're a DJ and you probably network in those environments and stuff like that, do you think that has helped you in the past when you've networked? Or are you just getting the same result?
I can talk. This is only personal to me and everything. I can talk to anyone unless I need to get something from them. So,
that's interesting.
If there's a film producer, or if there's like a radio station manager, if there is a girl who I think is way out of my league, or unless they actually show an interest in me, I cannot make a move. So it's just like and I think that again, it comes from self-security. You need to get over this whole imposter syndrome of like, I'm not good enough. Again, I loved Barbie.
Yes.
Like, I am Kenough.
Yes, absolutely, you are.
Absolutely.
And so it is. It's just a matter of a lot of creatives, we are so empathetic. We are so, sort of like, we don't put ourselves on a pedestal. We are just like, I'm good. I'm not the best, but I'm good. I will get the job done. I might not be the best, but that's the thing. So many people will not employ you unless you're ready to say, I am the best. You can't find anyone better.
So where do you
than
think, the thing is, it is true. Like, you're absolutely right. Is having that confidence within yourself.
Yeah.
And we do talk about this quite often in that it's almost as though even if we are really good, and even though other people say, no, you are good, you're really good, you're actually the best.
Yeah.
Why do we not believe it? Why do we ourselves not believe it?
It's a rhetorical question.
It's a very rhetorical question. So it's just like,
you're right though, because but the thing is, I think of it differently, that sometimes we do believe we are enough, but our level of confidence, maybe you don't want it. Sometimes people are just not naturally that kind of confident. They might be a different kind of confident. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of, you just have to play to your own strengths really, but sometimes that doesn't work in the industries.
Yeah,
that's what it is,
isn't
it?
I totally shot myself in the foot. Like, I had this interview to write for Ackley Bridge, and I was just like, I loved what you did with this show. I just sort of love the northern voice that you brought to it. And sort of having lived in London for the last 8 years, I'm not sure whether I'd be able to bring that same raw, authentic voice to it. I was like, why are my lips moving right now? But
I think it is, the thing is, it's also, I mean, we have said this before, and I think it's that because people in that, especially for you, people are judging you. You're putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
This is what I mean by the vulnerability, and it's just like, it is a really vulnerable situation because you put your all in everything you do. And when you put that and you lay that out for someone to basically become somebody else's baby, potentially, there are forget about getting a rejection. It could even be once they get it, you're like, well, what are they going to do with it? And how, it's that kind of how would they literally, what would they do with it?
Yep.
And will they be able to portray exactly what you want to portray? Or are they just going to be like, well, this is just a general thing that we're going to do?
Yep.
Like, almost as though, when a lot of it's sort of, everyone has a tick box and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I think it must be really, really I can't imagine ever being in that situation where I'm like, this is everything that I've worked for.
Yeah, but it's a group project.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Everything, even with the DJing side of things, I'm starting to realize everything is about collaborating.
Yeah.
Especially in this day and age. I think Instagram's figured it out with that whole collaborator option. It's just that there is so much more. I think that's the thing for the British Asian industry as well, is that there are such megalomaniac controllers in charge of the biggest parts of this industry.
Yeah.
And I think a lot more of us need to collaborate, as we're doing right now and
absolutely.
everything. And basically, have, big groups, events where we all sort of get over this imposter syndrome and thinking oh, we need to wait for this gatekeeper, that gatekeeper, and start creating a whole new industry afresh, because if we don't believe in the industry we're trying to break into, what's the point? So
it's so true.
It is so true, but I just feel like it would take a while to get there. As you say, there are people who control it that much, or just I think it's a bit of both. There are people controlling it, but then there's also some of us, like I said, who don't like going stuff like that. It's a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Before we started, we were even talking about sort of the media industry in general, and it's there's such a rat race for there to be.
That. We said that in another episode.
We did in terms of there can only be one person, and one person's the best, and that's it, and everyone's looking for that number one spot.
I feel like there's space for everyone.
But this is exactly it. This one space is so imagined. It's just I don't know where it's come from.
I think everyone brings their unique sparkle to anything that they do, whether that's I'm writing for a newspaper, we're all writing for a newspaper. We bring our own thing to it.
Yeah.
And I find it really alien when people get into that situation and then start competing. I just feel like, why don't you just celebrate
exactly
different people are bringing to it?
Well,
the individuality of it.
Just going on from that, like you collaborate with so many people with whatever you do. I mean, however much you want to reveal, you can reveal. But how have you dealt with people that you found difficult to collaborate with?
I had to leave.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
I do like that. I do like that. Like,
yeah, there was a TV series I was writing on, which was a total slog, but it was for an Indian TV channel, and the producer, like, basically there was a different direction I wanted to take the main characters of the series,
right?
Just because it felt as if he was being a bit too goody two shoes, and I was just like, well, how about we make him do this bad thing? And she was just like, why would he do that? He's the good guy.
Yeah.
Good guys don't do bad things. And I was
Good,
like,
but good guys can be flawed.
that was the point I had to
Do you know
leave.
what? It's true. Like, it's really funny because, like, I mean, I don't watch Indian serials. Like, I don't, but people at home do. And, like, I'll get clips and stuff. And it is that, like, there just generally doesn't mean there's no character development. It's just the story develops, but of nothing. And then when I watch sort of, like, other series, it's kind of one of those things where, like I literally read an article about, like, I used to watch Gilmore Girls. I came very late to it.
I haven't watched it. I'm still really
my cousin raves about it.
It's really later than Shama is.
Well, the thing is, it's something where I was just like, it was, like two of my friends recommended it. They're like, look, you like this stuff, watch it. And like the main character, well, one of the main characters, she's the daughter. For the first part of like the couple of seasons, she is that total good girl, goody two shoes, kind of does everything right, goes to private school, gets in everything, and then all of a sudden, as her adolescence, as she becomes like a teenager and all of that, and like even in her early 20s, you do see that the mistakes that she's made, and even though it makes the viewer uncomfortable because you're not used to that, you want her to be succeeding in everything, and all of a sudden she doesn't. That's what makes the story. That's what makes the character real. And, so I could totally imagine you being like pulling your hair up, being like, but then he's just a robot.
Yeah, but I feel Indian TV is a different case.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Even when you have like a British white producer or, basically, and you're writing an Asian story, and they're just, there was this comedy that I was developing about, what was it? 6 years ago, and the guy was just like, oh, why don't you put this joke in and that joke in, and I was just like, oh, this is a bit cringe. Just like, because you're thinking how to, he's trying to be typically British Asian and Citizen Khan-esque, and it's just I don't think that's.
But I think it's probably that as well. I'm guessing that you can get involved in projects that are just another version of something else that is out there rather than something that's new and fresh.
Yeah, but then I've got the opposite in that I come up with ideas, and then about 6 to 10 years afterwards, it's been made by someone, with the experience underneath their belt, and
probably the money as well.
Yeah, like I had a student sitcom, which was making waves in 2006. It was like the first script, a TV script I wrote, out of uni, and then it went out. I found an agent. It started going out then, and then 2010. There was a producer who was like, we actually, have you heard of Fresh Meat?
Yeah.
It's like about...
Yeah, Jack Whitehall.
Yeah, so that just came out in 2010. Yeah. And then producer was just like, we actually think Shai's is funnier than Fresh Meat. But because Fresh Meat has that slot now, we can't do anything about it.
And
same with
accolades,
Citizen Khan. That came out the same year. I was developing Generations, which was about 3 generations of Asians living in a household, and
oh my god,
and they're just like, we love it, but there's generations, and it's just like, and even Pride and Prejudice, like I was writing like this thing, a film called First Impressions. It was awful, but about a year later I picked up Eastern Eye, and it was just like,
Pride and Prejudice
are making this, and
God. And it is, you're right, these are all things that have people behind them have the accolades and stuff like that.
But that's not fair.
It's not fair. I mean, hey, okay,
you need fresh eyes.
You do need fresh eyes, and I mean, guys, listen, this is it. Okay, like, Shai is, you can get in touch. All right, you listen to this. He's got ideas coming out of literally every hair on his head is an idea.
I love it.
Okay, so
the hairs that are still good. Yeah,
that's so funny.
But honestly, it's I literally just think that I mean, just you haven't even spoke about everything that you've got involved in, and I just feel like I just want to know more. And
I feel like
more
this
and
might be
more.
a part 2.
I feel like we're gonna have
As in
to
we
have
need
a part 2. We definitely need a part 2.
Only if you agree.
Oh, for sure. No, it's shortage, man.
Oh my god! Of
Like,
course, why not?
And I think we
Absolutely.
should all be wearing matching polka dots.
We
next
should
time.
totally all be wearing
Okay,
matching polka dots.
I have the memo.
I have the memo too. I have the memo too.
Okay, so sorry if this is springing this on you.
Yes.
But we have an end section, which is like a light-hearted end section of this or that for the guest.
Yes.
Shall I start? Is that okay?
Please
Sure.
Cool.
start.
Shall I start?
Yes.
Okay. You are the only person I'm asking this because you are our honorary Voice It Out family member.
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
Do you
Family.
prefer keeping it in or voicing it out?
Oh God, you know this.
I mean, that's why you're the honorary member.
Yes.
Oh, I'm total open book. Like
I
apart
love
from
it.
amongst my mum. Actually, even with my mum, we have a really honest conversation. Like, there was this moment when I was like 20, and there was an email I'd left on my screen, and she discovered all about me. And from that moment, it was a horrific 4 months, but we have
my
become
God.
stronger
got-
because of it.
I love it.
So
I love
yeah,
it.
You got through it.
You got through it.
I did. Yeah.
That's
So-
that's also what we call power mum, who was able to also come through it out the
Exactly.
like with you. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Voice it
Okay.
out.
Voice it out.
Always.
Right. Cinema or OTT platforms like Netflix or Prime or
Oh man.
what do you prefer?
Right now it might be OTT,
Yeah?
I think. Yeah. Cinemas, unless it's superhero like big films, it's just like I don't really feel a need to go and watch it. And there's so much deeper stuff, especially in terms of Asian serials.
Oh, absolutely. I think so.
Yeah, Made in Heaven, Mirzapur.
Oh,
Definitely.
Like,
There's so much on OTTs, even on like, Indian platforms such
Yeah.
as Sony Live and
yeah.
Z5.
Hotstar.
And,
Yeah, Z5. There's so much stuff out there.
So behind on that.
Anyone want to sponsor us? Please do. Just putting it out there.
Just putting it out there. Okay. Travel junkie or homebody?
Travel junkie.
Oh,
I had a feeling you would answer that. But then I don't know.
I mean, like, I was always a travel junkie, but then when I go travel, I'm just always thinking, like, oh, I miss
wanna
my
go
decks,
home.
and I miss my sister's dog, and I miss, like, everyone. I
funny.
just
Oh
miss-
God.
yeah.
Okay, so it's actually really funny that you said you missed your sister's dog in
Oh, no.
particular.
What are you
Because
asking?
my next one is dogs or cats.
Oh, dogs.
Excellent.
100%. I just, like, the way that guys perv at girls that go past, like,
Yes.
I am like that with dogs. I'm
Oh.
not perving on them.
No, I agree. I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
My head just goes back with a really pervy
The
grin.
urge.
No, not pervy. It's not
The urge to just, like, as the dog's walking, the urge to just bend down and go, oh, you're such a cute little thing. But obviously being like, okay, it has an owner.
Exactly.
And the thing is, if you do that, it wouldn't be offensive to the dog. The dog would love it, but
Exactly.
you need the consent.
I was going to say, the owner might not love it. It's true, it's true.
So, yeah.
My face just screws off. It's like,
I know. Okay, so Shai's the type of person to have lots and lots of dog videos on his Instagram show up.
Yeah, there is. But yeah, the conversation of whether I can own a dog is a
I
totally
see.
different conversation. Like, DJing
that's-
does not have routine. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so my final one, and then Shama will do the final
Yes.
one. The thrill of DJing or the buzz of a film or series set?
See, this is... So DJing is short-term gratification. You've
Okay.
got the instant sort of like response from a crowd of like, we love you! It's just like, and the instant ka-ching of just like you're paid and everything. So, I mean, I love the balance that I have in that I can do that, but then also have the long-term thing of writing, which I'm really hoping pays off one day.
it will.
It
It's
will.
just like, but because there are so many things, and I'm sure this isn't me being full of myself, but one moment that, one thing where people realize the genius that I have.
Can you
I'm
be
hoping
full of
it's just sort
yourself?
It will happen.
You need to be full of yourself. Be full of yourself. Do it.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I
do
really
it.
love my ideas and my writing, and I
Exactly.
just
You do
really,
have some really good ideas. It's just
Yeah.
the matter of, I think, the right person seeing it.
Shai, we are manifesting this. Okay?
Absolutely.
We are manifesting it.
I feel like we were on the Coffee with Gurren couch where they manifested all these relationships, so now we're manifesting on
Yes.
this couch.
Absolutely. Oh, I like that. I definitely
Excellent.
like that.
I'm taking the couch.
Voice out couch.
Voice out
Put it
couch,
out
everyone.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Friday nights or Saturday
God.
nights?
Oh God.
I remember which one this was.
What's this for? Is this just generally?
Just generally.
Generally.
See, DJs don't really get weekends, so like Fridays and Saturdays meld into one.
Oh, I see.
If you had them free. which
Yes,
one
if
would
you had them
prefer?
free, which one would you prefer?
I think Fridays, just because Saturdays are almost always not a social obligation, but there's always someone who's planned something for a Saturday. So Fridays, you have a bit more flexibility of just, sometimes you can do something for yourself, sometimes you do something with friends. So yeah.
Love.
Amazing. That was a really good one because you had to really think about that.
Yes, I do.
To end with, I mean.
End with. It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Well, even with the whole DJing versus writing
yeah.
thing, I couldn't decide.
I suppose you just probably just
I
like both of them.
like that, like when we're thinking of these, in my head, I'm just like, oh, you know what? Oh, this is going to be easy for them. But it's
they're actually not.
They're actually not. It's just bringing something different to everyone to think about. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. This has been absolutely incredible. Do you have anything to plug?
Bombay Funkadelic.
Bombay
I can't believe
Absolutely.
people still don't everyone says, oh, there's nowhere to go out clubbing to Bollywood music.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There
Hello.
are so many
I have
places,
referred
but-
people to Bombay Funk
Yes.
before.
So
excellent.
so Bombay Funkadelic, what is it? When can people come? How do people get there? How do people come
It's
and get
for
in?
Bollywood fanatics, but also for people who want to introduce their friends to Bollywood,
Love.
because I love mashing things up. So
Yes, you do.
yes. So-
I remember coming to one event.
One.
I can't remember which one it was. And he was putting out all these 90s and all of a sudden it was something and I was just like, oh my God.
We've always said we need to go to one of the nights.
we will eventually
We
come to
will
one.
absolutely. We do live on either ends of the world at the moment, so
but yeah, because we do stuff like around London now, but yeah, it's mainly central. But yeah, do come down.
Absolutely.
And I'm really, especially if you've got like non-Asian friends,
Yeah.
I want to try and get more people who aren't brown into
Okay.
the night. So bring your friends.
That's cool. Sorry, what is the handle for Bombay Funk?
At
everywhere?
Bombay Funkadelic or at DJ Shy Guy, because I've also just signed up with an agency for English music. So so at DJ Shy Guy is for your whole musical needs, or at Shy Guy Productions for the writing when it happens.
Absolutely.
when it happens, absolutely. So if you want to know more about Shy, more about Bombay Funkadelic, everything, just follow him. Okay, just get up all on his socials.
Absolutely.
So yes, thank you so much for
So this time we can thank you actually in person for our jingle instead of saying thanks
Shut
to
up.
DJ
I
Shy
know.
Guy.
Literally, it's been. It's honestly, it's been the
honoured,
best.
man.
It's wonderful. It's
funny.
brilliant, and I'm so glad that people now can actually hear and see who you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where am I waving? Am I waving?
You're waving here.
Yeah.
Oh my God! So you've revealed a lot. I feel like we're going to need a part 2.
Yeah, I feel like we will need a part 2.
Evidently, but thank you so much, and
Yeah,
thank you
so much for joining us.
everyone for listening and everyone for watching. And remember, we don't want to keep it in. We want to voice it out. Woo!